Chapter 33. I'm not going to say a whole lot about this chapter because there's not that much to say. The thing I've written at the top there is dystopian media circus. So basically this is a chapter in which they go to the Pravaganza and you see the sort of the media, the public facing side of this dystopian society over this and the next chapter or two. I've underlined that soothing to the eyes of the eyes, for that's who this show is for. We're off to the Pravaganza to demonstrate how obedient and pious we are. So a bit of wordplay there, the eyes of the eyes, eyes being the things you see through and the eyes being the government spies. And then I've underlined this down the middle of that page. Women's Pravaganza today. The banner covers the building's former name, some dead president they shot. God is a national resource, and plaster hard young faces. No pimply ones today. Each has a submachine gun slung ready for whatever dangerous or subversive acts they might think we might commit inside. You've got a number of things there, but that Pravaganza, the term there is neologism, which means a new word. So you've heard of the word extravaganza. So this is a neologism. They've taken the word prayer and extravaganza and put it together. So this tells us about the ideology, the value system of this state, that they value prayer, and a party for them means one in which you pray a lot. And then those little dystopian ticks, some dead president they shot. So is it John F. Kennedy? Who is they? Or is it a more recent president that the Sons of Jacob, the Gileadian government, the Sons of Jacob shot? You've got there a sense of the loss of history. Some dead president, we don't know who it is. She's so embedded in this dystopian society, she's forgetting her own history. I say John F. Kennedy because we all know that name of the president they shot, and Abraham Lincoln would be the other one. There are two, I believe, assassinated presidents, and we know about them. She's forgotten these momentous events in history. So it shows how tied into the dystopia she is, how tied into this new world she is. And then we have these this quote, which we've looked through in class. No pimply ones today. So it implies that quite often the eyes, or the angels, are pimply. They are basically child soldiers, guardians, not eyes or angels, guardians, different military role for the men. And then that, plaster hard, it's blank. It's like something's being covered up. And then whatever dangerous or subversive acts they might think we might commit inside. And that inside's interesting. Does she mean inside ourselves? And that would be a dystopian trope again. It would be the 1984 thought crime thing. So 1984, they talk about people committing thought crime. And that would be a dangerous or subversive act that you commit inside. Or do they mean inside the place where they're going to do the Pravaganza? So on to the next couple of pages. Not loads to talk about here. If I zoom in here, and they wouldn't want to interrupt the ceremony, not in front of the television cameras. So it's again that sense of like that public facing. They need to maintain a good public face. It's early for that. Something has gone wrong. Has something gone wrong with her breast milk? It was a shredder after all. My God, this is Janine's baby. So Janine has had a baby. They thought it was a good baby, and it was a shredder after all. So just notice that, my God, blasphemy, swearing in Gilead here. But yeah, so there we have that sort of the wretch. It's a bit of a link to Frankenstein, perhaps. They thought it was beautiful, they thought it was a good baby, but it was a shredder after all. So here, Janine, we watch as Janine enters the roped-off enclosure in her veil of untouchability, of bad luck. She sees me. She must see me, but she looks right through me. No smile of triumph this time. She turns, kneels, and all I can see now is her back, her thin bowed shoulders. We don't like Janine. We haven't liked Janine. And I think the reader's almost being encouraged to feel pleased that Janine has been defeated. You know, we're the smile of triumph is what we don't like about her, and we're reminded of that in this moment of her defeat. Then we have this. She thinks it's all her fault, Offglin whispers, 2 in a row for being sinful. She used a doctor, they say. It wasn't her commanders at all. So they say again, this gossip, the female network. I can't say I do know, or Offglin will wonder how. As far as she's aware, she herself is my only source for this kind of information, of which she has a surprising amount. So the female network's there. We have here just her imagining what the gossip would be amongst the Marthas, and then I see something about Psyche here. That's terrible, I say. It's like Janine, though, to take it upon herself to decide the baby's flaws were due to her alone. But people will do anything rather than admit that their lives have no meaning, no use, that is, no plot. So Janine is choosing to blame herself for the baby's flaws, and we have a little musing on human nature that people will blame themselves of things if they've got nothing else. So it shows how reduced Janine's circumstances are, that the only way she can give herself meaning is by saying that it's her fault that this bad thing has happened. And then we have a flashback. I've written Janine dissociation. Dissociation, Dissociation, Tion. This is back in the Red Centre, and Janine basically becomes absent. Dissociation is when you no longer seem yourself. You just sort of become. It's like you're in a dream. It's like almost like you're sleepwalking. And Moira basically slaps her out of it. Christ, said Moira beside me. Don't swear, said Alma. Moira took Janine by the shoulders and shook her. Snap out of it, Janine, she said roughly, and don't use that word. Janine smiled. You have a nice day now, she said. Moira slapped her across the face twice, back and forth. Get back here, she said. Get right back here. You can't stay there. You aren't there anymore. That's all gone. Janine's smile faltered. So she comes back to reality here. And then at the end, you can't let her go slipping over the edge. That stuff is catching. So Moira is keeping Janine present, because if Janine has a psychotic break, A, that stuff is catching. Other people might do it too. And B, they'll just take her outside and kill her. So she's actually protecting her by bringing her back to reality. And that's that for that chapter.